you could have like an average girl who goes hooks up with a millionaire or billionaire. He's not going to commit to you, but now you've introduced into your periphery a certain lifestyle. You've been with a certain tier of guy, and it's going to be very, very hard for you to now go and settle for a guy who's actually on your level.
I think if you want to, you can get a guy like that.
If you want
to, if they want to,
if a girl wants to
stay with a guy that gave her everything, then they can.
Here's the thing, right? Like,
I agree with you.
Yeah, like
if she doesn't sleep with him, maybe.
If she doesn't sleep with him?
Yeah, I mean, like, to keep a man's attention, the best way is to not do that quickly.
Yeah, if you're on his level, if you're on his level, a guy's not like. Here's the thing, right? There's this concept called hypergamy. Like, women are trying to get the best man that they can get, and so what you have happening on dating apps, for example, and most people are meeting online, most people are meeting on dating apps, you have a very, very small percentage of men on these dating apps that are matching with all the women. They've done studies on this, they've released the data. Women are only swiping on the top 5, top 10% of men on these dating apps. So what you're going to have happen is all the attention is going towards the top 10% of men on these dating apps. Typically, those are the most physically attractive men because the dating apps operate on a fairly superficial, shallow level. So it's really it's really making physical attraction looks the focus. Women are giving all their attention to the top 10, top 5% of men. They have all the optionality. They're going to sleep with these women that they would otherwise never entertain for a long-term relationship because they welcome the easy access to sex. So here's the big difference. Men will sleep with women of a certain of a certain physical attractiveness that they would never consider being in a relationship with. Because for men, like, they'll sleep with a girl, but just based on her looks alone, will never be in a relationship with her. But they're like, okay, cool, easy sex, sweet. But what ends up happening is that girl then thinks, because I'm able to have sex with that guy, therefore I must also be on that level. That's the guy that I deserve for a long-term relationship. So let's just to use numbers here. Let's say a girl who's a 6, she can get with a guy who's an 8 or a 9. Looks-wise, he's never going to commit to her, but he will have sex with her. Maybe once, he might even keep her around as a friends with benefits. She'll never get commitment. So that's where women kind of get in this trap. And then what ends up happening, they get sexual attention. Say average women get sexual attention from men that are that are more physically attractive than them. They now think, that's my level, that's my league. That's not your league. You can get sex from those men. That's not your league, though. In the same way that you can get attention from a guy who's got a certain, like Drake, it's got a certain level of status, right? Actually, let me not bring in, I'm not going to bring in status. I'll just keep it to looks. So what you have happening is these women, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. What ends up happening is that the guys who are actually on their level, average women no longer want average men. And this is evidenced by the fact that women view like 80 to 90% of men as physically unattractive. So as women, if you start chasing after these men who will give you access to sex, they'll never give you a ring or a relationship, then the men who are actually on your level, who will be loyal, who will give you commitment, who will give you a ring, you think you're settling for him, even though that's your looks equivalent, that's your match, that's your league, that's on your level. You think they're below you. So I think that's a big thing.
I think that's a great point, and I feel like we need, like,
that was very long-winded, sorry.
If you can get in a 30-second clip, like, let's just pass it around so every girl can see that and read it, because I think it's very important. I mean, I even think that some guys that are like a 10 will sleep with a 6 if there's alcohol involved. I mean, if there's certain things.
Oh, guys who are 10s will absolutely sleep with a 6. They will never commit to them.
What I was saying though is I think.
But one thing, and I'll let you finish. The reverse isn't true for women though.
Yeah.
For a woman to sleep with a guy, typically the guy needs to be at least physically attractive enough to be in a relationship with.
Right. Okay.
Women will actually, and women will actually.
They're not disagreeing.
And typically women will actually break a rule, so it's almost the reverse. So men will break their rule for, when it comes to sex, casual sex, men will sleep down. When it comes to casual sex, women will typically sleep up. So like women will bend their rules if the guy's really physically attractive.
Sure.
Maybe their previous standard was okay, I don't sleep on the first date, or I'm waiting. But if a guy's physically attractive enough, a lot of women will break their rule.
Which is dumb. But what I'm saying is, if you're within like 1 degree, right? 1.5.
Yeah, sure.
If you want a chance of maybe making him your man, the best thing you can do is not sleep with him. Because then because let's say you're a girl, like there are some girls, maybe they're 6, but they have like an amazing personality, like that counts for something. And so then you give the guy a little bit of time to get to know you, while he also is like intrigued and intrigued by you sexually. And so then the combo, and then maybe there's a better chance. Now, when it's a 6 and a 10, sure, I totally agree. But I think like for like the best way to get a man is not to sleep with him.
I will say that I think a lot of men, and perhaps we can ask the chat, maybe one in the chat if you agree with this, I think it's certainly the case that a lot of men would be willing to forego on the physical looks front if the woman can bring them peace, is pleasant, is feminine, has a low body count, is not promiscuous. I do think men are probably a little negotiable on that front. I would say though, like a guy who has, but that's more so, a guy who has a lot of sexual optionality, I really don't think that, like if you're 1 or 2 points or 3 points looks wise below him, he has so much sexual optionality. I don't think he'll find a girl that's willing to sleep with him right away.
Because
not all men, but
I think my ex was cuter than me personally. And
which one? The Christian or the non-Christian?
The non-Christian, but we waited a very long time, and he said that, and we were official. And he said that it was because of that he got to like know me and see me.
Okay.
So that's just and some people might think we're equal.
No, as a man, 100%, man. You know, when you're young, you don't care. You just all the hot chicks you want to get with them, especially if you weren't raised right. You know, you get into this idea of this modern culture, and you get confused, and you want to sleep with women because of their looks. When you become a mature man, you want peace. Yeah. That means more to you. Someone who's agreeable, because you can have a hot chick and she's a pain in the rear. And I hate to say it, a lot of super hot women or super attractive women are annoying. Because, and I'm not saying everyone, but they get that way because they don't have to work on their personality, because they get so much attention based on their looks. So they don't have to work on anything else. They could be sitting across the room from a guy, they don't have to work on nothing. Men are like dogs, you know, they want to come and get that one woman because she's incredibly beautiful, but she don't work on her character. Definitely. Or she want to be a boss bae, or she doing all this other stuff that's really unattractive to the man she want. She can get men. Mm-hmm. But the man that she wants is not going to be in a relationship with her if she cannot be a peace and agreeable with the man.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's all about the personality wherever. I always dated, honestly, like guys that are not that cute. And it's not that, oh, yeah, I'm the cutest of the relationship or anything, but it needs to be with the personality. Like, they are awesome persons, like people or whatever. And a lot of girls think about, like you were saying, like guys a 10 and they're an 8, they have sex, I feel, from like my friends and stuff, that they say like, oh, I'm gonna have sex with him and he's gonna fall in love for the sex, you know. There's a lot of girls that think of that, and I'm like, well, I'm the whole opposite. I'm like, hell no, I'm not having, if I want something with him, I'm not having sex until we're dating. Like,
wait, but if you don't want something from, see, are you saying that there are some men that you hook up with quickly that you don't want anything from?
No.
Oh, okay. Because, I mean, that's kind of like an interesting thing where women will have 2 different standards. There's maybe your spring break, partying, whatever, like in your past. Okay, I'll sleep with a guy within 30 minutes of meeting him, and then next week, oh, you meet a guy who, oh, he's got really great long-term potential. I'm going to make him wait 3 months.
No, I've never had like a one-night stand or anything. So I'm like,
what?
I always wait like.
What's the shortest you've waited to have sex?
Probably.
And no
like
judgment, by the way.
Like,
I've
like a month or
a month?
like a month.
That's the shortest?
A month and a half. Yeah. What? Is
like,
that a lot?
Good for you, girl.
I mean, good. I mean, that's
Get your bag.
that's a good standard. That's a good standard because
I
as
mean,
a man,
Because
most
I'm not
women
gonna
are
give it
nowhere near that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give it like the second date or third date.
Really?
It's just like no.
Shit, I ain't waiting that long. Shit.
She's a classy lady.
You
Like-
say you wouldn't wait that long?
They
well,
have
here's
to work
why.
for it,
Here's
you
why.
know? Like
of my long-term relationships, I don't feel like there's this trope. Now, some guys will definitely view a woman who sleeps with them too quickly in the negative light. My personal view is that I don't need to wait a long time. I've had relationships with wonderful women, and we hooked up relatively quickly. Third date, second date. I personally don't think, and long-term, 2-year. I had a 2-year relationship, 5-year relationship. These were good relationships, and the quickness with which we had sex did not have a negative impact on the relationship, in my view.
Yeah. So
In
you
my
think,
view.
right? I mean,
I could be wrong.
right,
I'm still.
But what if
you know.
that was her fifth buddy, you know?
do you
And now
mean?
she's gonna have 6 buddy, and the next person that she meets, like he's gonna be like, oh no, that's a lot of like cum
Well,
buddy already, you know? That's gonna be
Sure.
fucked up, you
Well,
know?
I-
So you have to
sure.
actually work it
I
out.
mean, I think I maybe tend to move a little differently than some other guys. Like for me, if I have sex with a girl, I want to pursue something long term with her, even if we hook up relatively early on. I've never been interested in just sleeping with a girl once. That has very little. That's very not of interest for me. So if I sleep with a girl, even if it's early on, I want there to be continuity. I want to continue seeing her. So maybe I move a little differently than some other people, because I think maybe it's the case that some people might say, okay, well, hooked up with her quick, don't want to continue seeing her. Or there's just guys that they're just trying to just one girl after the other, have sex once and never see her again. Me personally, that doesn't make sense. Like, I don't get that, to have sex with a girl once and then never talk to her again. Unless something really fucking weird happened, but like if I decide I want to have sex with the girl, I want to keep seeing her. So